All right, good evening, fans, and welcome to St. Augustine, Florida. We're just getting set here for the final match of the Flagler Saints Classic. It'll be between the Nova Southeastern Sharks and, of course, the hosts, your Flagler College Saints. We just had the starters introduced by our lovely PA announcer, Jason. For the Sharks, we're looking at Madeline Hooper, Brooke Spurgeon, Kate Mahasevich, Taylor Stockman, Elizabeth Price, Gabrielle Spankus, and finally, Olivia Aniel. For the Saints, I know a lot of familiar names on this team. Newcomer, Lexi Bassler, number 1, the transfer from Drury University. Meredith Dixon, the junior from Fort Lauderdale, followed by Colby Stemkowski. We'll be saying her name a lot today. Then Molly Boyd, a fan favorite. Jordan Berglund, the leading scorer for the Saints. Claire Sheedy, another newcomer. We'll get to her in a second. And then finally, wrapping it up for the Saints, number 24, Cassidy Bloom. Both teams are out on the court, just about set to go here in St. Augustine. Flagler entering play. They're 3-2. Picked up a win earlier today at about 1 o'clock. On the other side, Nova Southeastern has been, to say the least, a wagon. 5-0 on the season coming into play. And even more impressive, they've only lost 1 set. So Nova Southeastern, a real strong test for the Saints. We'll see what Skylar Lopez's girls have in store for us. Just waiting on the officials now. Everyone looks ready. And we are set to get underway. It'll be Gabrielle Spankus for the Sharks on the first serve. From the left side, fires it over. Played nicely by Berglund. Sheedy over to Stemkowski, who softly beats the defense. And the Flagler Saints are on the board first. It's 1-0. So we mentioned we'll get to Claire Sheedy. That's a name we're going to say a lot today. Sheedy has been, to say the least, dominant in the assist department. Hasn't had under 30 in a game this year. Actually had 40 in the game earlier today. And she's all the way up to 165 assists on the season, already smashing her total of 152 last season at Wingate University. The Sharks got the last point. They will be on the serve again. Fired over. Berglund played a little awkwardly. This time it's Cassidy Bloom. And they're going to give it to the Saints. They're going to say it was deflected. It looked like it from our vantage point. But, of course, the officials have the best view. So this time it's Amelia Fitzpatrick. Fitzpatrick in a bit of a different role this year. A lot of assists last season. She's been doing a lot defensively and offensively for the Saints this year. I know Coach Lopez loves to see that as the Saints pick up another point to increase their lead to 3-1. So it's Fitzpatrick again. Fires played nicely. They fired over to Price, and Price slams one. Berglund made a nice play on it, just deflected behind her. Hey, we mentioned Elizabeth Price is a name we're going to be saying a lot today. Coming into play, she leads both teams in kills. But it's not just on offense where she can hurt you. On defense, 39 digs, tied for second on the Sharks roster as Berglund hits one to Sheedy to Molly Boyd, and Boyd with a kill on the far side. And hey, this is a good start for the Saints, plenty of time. But Molly Boyd and Sheedy looking very strong so far. So it's Cassidy Bloom, fires one over. And fired down, my goodness, Elizabeth Price. An absolute rocket. There was nothing Jordan Berglund could do about that one. Well placed with a lot of speed. So here's Taylor Stockman, another player for the Sharks that we'll be talking about a lot. As Sheedy sends one back for Fitzpatrick, played nicely by Stockman, hits off the ceiling. And a lack of communication leads to a Saints point. All right, so the first time we're seeing Ella Wicker today for the Saints, the sophomore from Woodstock, Illinois. taking on a bigger role this season. Wicker fires it over. Price this time. Oh, a beautiful block by Berglund, saved by the Sharks. They're able to just free ball that one over. Sheedy with a nifty play, but that one was sniffed out perfectly by Olivia Annual. And it's back to a 1-point contest here in the first set, 5-4. The Saints are in front. So it's Price on the serve. Berglund sends it up, rattles around at the ceiling a bit. Back to Berglund. Well defended there by Bassler. Stemkowski able to get it over. Oh my goodness, both teams working their tails off. And we're still going. Oh, Sheedy thought she read it going out of bounds. It's just on the edge on the far side. Very well placed ball from the Sharks defense there. Hey, great point from both sides there. A lot to love from both teams so far. Here's Price, read beautifully by Cassidy Bloom and Jordan Berglund to just let it go. And the Saints will be back in front and on the serve. So now it's Claire Sheedy, like we said, the transfer from Wingate University. And we're going to be seeing her feeding Jordan Berglund and Molly Boyd a lot today. That is going to be a consistent theme. Can the Sharks stop Sheedy, Berglund, and Boyd? The Saints have a lot of different players that can beat you, but those are the top three. On the other side, of course, it's Price, but then Taylor Stockman, second on the team in kills. Also tied for fourth in digs. So another do-it-all player for the Sharks. A lot of well-rounded players on their team. And Coach Ettinger has to be happy with her girls so far. This time it's Annual. Fires one over, read perfectly. That time it was Meredith Dixon just stepping out of the way in time here on the near side. And we're all square once again, 7-7. So here's Jordan Berglund, fires one into the corner on the far side. Jordan Berglund with the first Saints ace of the day. We mentioned Berglund. She leads the Saints in kills, points, and she's also tied for third in digs. So she can do it all. She's in her senior season, led the team in kills last season. Definitely a player that the Sharks are going to want to stop. Well played there by Stemkowski, but it's saved by the libero. That was Brooke Spurgeon. And they're still going back and forth here. A lot of good defense from Nova Southeastern. Sheedy this time feeding Bloom. Softly sends it over. Well placed by Bloom on the assist from who else? Claire Sheedy. And that's a big point. They've been going back and forth on a lot of these, but the Saints able to make it a 2-score lead early in the first set. You don't want to give Nova Southeastern any room. Firing it up, here's Price, blocked by Stemkowski. The ball rattles out of bounds, and it's another point for the Saints. Hey, Berglund going on a nice little run here. Let's see if that'll continue. It's 10-7. Once again, it's Berglund. Played back. And another, they're going to call that out, it looks like. Hard to see from our vantage point. Colby Stemkowski certainly thought that was in. But nonetheless, that's a nice break for the Sharks, stopping the bleeding before it got a bit out of control. And that's what they do so well. They go on runs. They don't let you go on runs, as evidenced by the fact that, once again, they've only lost one set on the season. As you see Stemkowski fire one into the feet of the Sharks defense. So this time it's Lexi Bassler. Once again, the transfer from Drury, originally from St. Louis, Missouri. And it hits off of Elizabeth Price, goes out of bounds. And it's another point for the Saints. They now lead by 4. And there's the first time out of the day from Coach Ettinger. Very wisely called there. And we'll take a quick break. Before we take that break, I want to talk about some of our fabulous sponsors. First, Jersey Mike's. Hey, if you're ever stopping in for a nice cold subs, get the number 7 and be sure to get it Mike's way. And of course, if you're ever in the market for a new car, check out Hyundai of St. Augustine, a personal favorite. Hey, we'll be back in a second, folks, but don't go anywhere. The rest of the first set coming up next. All right, so we took a quick break on you, on all the viewers at home. Coach Lopez just finished speaking with his girls. He's entering his 3rd season, and one thing I love about Coach Lopez, every season the team just looks better and better and better, and they returned a lot of great players this year. Of course, it's always going to be tough to replace a player like Edie Lamoureux, who was the defensive powerhouse for the Saints for so long, but they're in good hands with Lexi Bassler now, filling in for Lamoureux, of course. Here's Bloom, deflects it off of the Sharks. They're going to give it to the Saints as it hit off of Stockman and went out of bounds. And the Saints lead is up to 5 coming out of the timeout. So it's Bassler again. Sharks rattling it around. Oh, beautifully placed there. That time it was Kate Mahasevich. And the Sharks, a much-needed point there as Mahasevich will be the one to serve on the far side on the left here. Berglund goes low. Here's Sheedy. Fires one, and that's Meredith Dixon. Hey, we've already said her name once today. Dixon looking very strong so far. And once again, it was set up by Claire Sheedy. The offense is going to run through her. Of course, like we said, Berglund and Boyd, those are the main scorers. You have Stemkowski as well. But it all starts with Sheedy, setting them up beautifully for the kill. Fitzpatrick's serve is played by the Sharks. This time well defended by Berglund. It rattles off the ceiling. Unfortunately, went right back to her. Nothing she could do about that. And we've seen that go both ways so far, where one's hit off the ceiling and landed in their offensive zone. Here's Brooke Spurgeon. Spurgeon, ooh, way too strong. Berglund reads it perfectly, lets it go, and the Saints lead is back to 5. Here's Cassidy Bloom, a former University of Albany student. As the Sharks pick up a nifty point there, that looks like Taylor Stockman deflecting off of Molly Boyd. Boyd, another senior here. Her and Berglund have been the mainstays for the Saints. Boyd, originally from Chicago, she can do it all. Defensively, she's very strong in the block department, and you see it right there. Molly Boyd on the front lines, not only blocking it, sending it home, able to get the block point there. And like we said, it's Molly Boyd and Berglund. Those are going to be the main players to watch offensively for the Saints. This one fired in. That time it was Ella Wicker. Beautifully placed serve. Another ace for the Saints. And the lead is up to 6. Once again, it's Wicker. It's it, oh, just at the top of the net. Had a lot of power on that one. That's an easy point for the Sharks. Hey, they'll take it any way they can get it. And now it's time for them to try and claw their way back. Like we said, only have lost one set all season. So here's Price. Read perfectly. Bloom and Berglund communicating effectively there. They both wanted to play it and then both get out of the way at the same time. And the Saints have been very cautious on those serves, and those are tough to play back. So anytime you can read that as well as they are, it's just a gift. It's free points. Bassler goes low. Here's Sheedy setting it up for Dixon, and it's another point for Meredith Dixon. Dixon coming into the game had 25 kills on the year. Not going to wow you in the statistical department, partially because they have Berglund, Boyd, Stemkowski, plenty of players who can beat you, but Dixon, another effective player who can do a lot for the Saints, especially on offense. So it's 19-13 Saints late here in the first set. That time it's fired over by Annual. Played Sheedy to Berglund. Nice block, read brilliantly by Bloom. And the lead is up to 7 for the Saints. So once again, it's Berglund. Sends it over. Oh, misplayed there. You don't see that much from Kate Mahasevich. Looks like she just took her eye off it at the last second. And it just deflected off a knuckle onto the court. Berglund, oh, just into the net. Another serving error for the Saints. And it'll go back the other way, excuse me. It'll be Gabrielle Spankus on the serve. Bloom plays it nicely. Here's Sheedy. Sheedy, oh, they were expecting her to try and serve it up for one of her teammates. She makes a nifty move, excuse me, but it's played well by the Sharks defense. Here's Bloom. Deflects off a few Sharks. Played nicely by Spankus and finished. That time it's Emma DeFerm. And the Sharks have some momentum here. You can't write them off whatsoever. It's still a 6-point lead for the Saints, but you don't want to let them get going. Sheedy up to Berglund. Berglund hits it out of bounds on the far side. Read well by Elizabeth Price. And all of a sudden, the Sharks creeping back. It's 21-16. Sheedy to Dixon. It's off of Price. Good hustle by Sheedy. Free balled over by Dixon. A brilliant play there by Sheedy as Berglund goes low. Bloom able to get it over. And the Sharks are just going to have to send it back. Stemkowski, oh, just out of bounds here on the near side. Back and forth point there, but it ends up going to the Sharks. And Coach Lopez is going to call timeout and stop the bleeding. A wise decision on the third-year head coach. So we'll take a break here, but before we go, if you're in the market for a new home, check out KB Home. They make a great house. 40-foot lots, 50-foot lots, 60-foot lots. It doesn't matter. KB Home has got you covered. We'll be back in about 30 seconds, folks. Don't go anywhere. End of the first set coming up next. All right, fans, so we're back out of the timeout here. Once again, if you're just joining us, the Saints out to an early lead in the first set, 21-17 over the Nova Southeastern Sharks. Nova Southeastern starting to claw their way back in this first set, hence why Coach Lopez called that timeout. Here's Sheedy, defended well by Price. Sheedy again, setting it up for Stemkowski, just out of bounds, read brilliantly by Brooke Spurgeon. And just like that, it's a 3-point match. It's been a while since the Saints have had a point. Boy, could they use one here. Sheedy setting it up for Dixon. And Dixon deflects it off of DeFerm out of bounds. And there's a much-needed point for the Saints. The lead is back to 4. This time it's Bassler. Oh, just into the top of the net. We've seen that a few times from the Saints. They all look good from our vantage point. Just get caught up in the top of the net. And by my count, that's 3 of those. So 3 free points to the Sharks. Something to watch as we move forward in this first set. Here's Marley Navarrete. First time we've said her name, and an ace for Navarrete. The freshman from Palm City, Florida, getting in on the action for the Saints. Once again, it's Navarrete. And this time the luck bounces the other way as she hits it right into the net. And the Saints are 2 points away from taking this first set. Amelia Fitzpatrick checks back into the game. Fitzpatrick serve. Well played by Spurgeon. They're setting it up for Stockman, who with a punishing finish there at the feet of Lexi Bassler. Not much she could do there, Bassler, as there was a lot of power on that finish from Stockman. Here's Spurgeon. Sheedy setting up Boyd. Rattles around, Bassler able to play it. Berglund setting up Bloom. The Sharks play it well. Here's Price, blocked. Stockman again, and it deflects off Cassidy Bloom's hands. Defended well by Bloom, but Stockman, like we said, the attention's going to go to Elizabeth Price, but Stockman is a phenomenal finisher, as you just saw from those last 2 Sharks points. And all of a sudden, we have a 1-point match. Berglund, Sheedy, oh, well played there. Stockman again, oh, just out of the reach of Bassler. And Taylor Stockman's taking matters into her own hands. We are all knotted up at 23 apiece. Spurgeon sends one over. Sheedy setting it up for Berglund. Just inside the line. That was a close call from our vantage point. But we will take it. The Saints on to the match point if they can get this one. Cassidy Bloom on the serve. Just gets over the net. Here's Spankus setting up Stockman. Well played by Sheedy. Here's Berglund. The Sharks defend it well. Price, and it's blocked by Boyd. And the Saints take the first set. What a play by Molly Boyd. Boy, oh boy, a back and forth first set. Culminates with Molly Boyd's block. And the Saints are out to a 1-0 lead. Only the second set the Nova Southeastern Sharks have lost all season. So just goes to show how impressive that opening set was for the Saints. We're going to take a timeout here. We'll be back in just under 3 minutes. Before we go, I want to thank a few more of our sponsors. A personal favorite once again, Chick-fil-A. Who doesn't love Chick-fil-A? And then how about St. John's Family Funeral Home and Crematory? And finally, St. Augustine, St. John's County Airport. We'll be back, like I said, in just under 3 minutes, folks. Don't go anywhere. Second set coming up next. All right, fans, welcome back to Flagler Gymnasium here in beautiful St. Augustine, Florida. St. Augustine, typically a beautiful place to live. Over the last 2 weeks, it has been pouring rain every single day. So stay inside, everyone. Stay off the roads. If you're just joining us, you missed a phenomenal first set. The Saints won 25-23. As we've mentioned several times, it was only the second set that the Nova Southeastern Sharks have dropped through 5 games thus far. The last one came, well, 1 week ago today at Ashland University in Ohio. So a good sign for Coach Lopez's group. We'll see how the Sharks respond here in the second set. Normal starters for the Saints: Dixon, Bloom, Boyd up front, Sheedy and Berglund in the middle, and Lexi Bassler will be the first one to serve. Bit of a delay here. Oh, Bassler on the wrong side. And we're off. Played nicely over to Price. Out of bounds on the far side. Bassler knew it immediately. And the Saints out to a 1-0 lead here in the second set. So once again, it's Bassler. Played nicely by Spurgeon. Spankus. It was almost a nice play by Hooper. Blocked twice by the Saints. That time off the hands of Cassidy Bloom. Ends up out of bounds. A tough blow for the Saints. And we're all knotted up at 1. So here's Brooke Spurgeon. Like we mentioned, Brooke Spurgeon, a freshman, already taken on a lot of responsibility as the libero for the Sharks, as Price fires one over. Easy play for Sheedy. Nice play there by Spurgeon. Oh, a beautiful finish there. Olivia Aniel. Looked like she was going to go up with a spike and just ever so softly places it between 3 Saints defenders. And the Sharks have their first lead here. It's in the second set. Spurgeon, played by Bloom. Here's Sheedy. And they're going to give the point to the Saints. It looks like they hit it 3 times, just deflected off a couple of girls for the Sharks. And another break there. That was a nice finish from Meredith Dixon. Didn't say her name a lot last year, but my goodness, has Dixon been imperative to the Saints' success so far this season. Here's Fitzpatrick, played by Price. Spankus up to Aniel. What a finish there by Olivia Aniel. We did not say her name all that often in the first set, but it looks like some adjustments were made on the Nova Southeastern side. One being, let's get the ball to Olivia Aniel. Read beautifully on that serve. That time, Jordan Berglund lets it go. Her, Bloom, Bassler have been so phenomenal today at just letting it go. Get out of the way. Take your time. Here's Bloom. Some power on that one. Spankus over to Price. Oh, what a finish at the feet of Bassler. She was able to get a hand on it, but just shot it right into the legs of Molly Boyd. Not much the Saints could do there. A brilliant finish from Elizabeth Price. Speaking of Elizabeth Price, it's her on the serve. Bassler up to Sheedy. They're serving it up for Berglund, just out of bounds. Here on the right side of your screen. And the Sharks increase their lead. It's now 5-3 early in the second set. Berglund from Sheedy, played nicely by Spurgeon. Aniel, what a shot from Aniel. She loves that little soft tap over the net. And once again, feels like deja vu in between 3 Flagler defenders. Just a beautiful touch there by Aniel. Once again, it's Price. Played by Bloom. Sheedy Boyd blocked. That time it's Emma DeFerm. We've said her name a couple times already defensively for the Sharks. And this is more like the Nova Southeastern we were expecting. They're up 7-3. And a lot of firepower from the Sharks. Sheedy over to Berglund, who finishes it, deflecting off of Olivia Aniel's hands. And a much-needed point for the Saints as they trim the deficit down to 3. It's now 7-4. Here's Ella Wicker. Right over, Spankus to Aniel again. Olivia Aniel red hot in this second set. A lot of young guns for Nova Southeastern. We've said Brooke Spurgeon's name a lot. She's a freshman. Aniel only a sophomore out of East Lake High School in Tarpon Springs, Florida. Bright future for the Nova Southeastern Sharks. Very well played there. Dixon had a nice kill on that one. Here's Berglund. It deflects out of bounds off the hands of Taylor Stockman. Stockman almost out of play there. But the point will go to the Saints. Claire Sheedy on the serve. Here's Spankus. Oh, stuffing each other on the front lines there. And the Saints just with a free ball over the net. Spankus played by Bloom. They're just going to have to send it over this time. It's Price. Spankus fired low. What a finish by Emma DeFerm. And when the Sharks get set up like that from the setter, boy, are they powerful. So are the Saints. But I have not seen anything like this Nova Southeastern offense. Blocked, goes under the net. That'll be a point for Colby Stemkowski. She was a little confused there. But nonetheless, she will get the point for Flagler. They're doing a nice job of hanging around. The Sharks have looked better in the second set. The Saints were clearly the better team in the first set. But both teams doing a good job of hanging around even when they go down. Oh, well read by Elizabeth Price. You saw her move out of the way at the last second. And it goes out of bounds. The lead's back up to 4 for the Sharks. This time Bassler plays it to Sheedy, sends it backward for Dixon. Stuffed! That time it's Elizabeth Price. Who else? It's a good opportunity for Meredith Dixon. She put a lot on it. Price was just in the right spot at the right time. That's an intelligent defensive play. Berglund this time able to get it back into possession for the Saints. It deflects off of the Sharks defenders. Point Saints. And once again, the deficit's back to 4. It's 11-7. Nova Southeastern in the lead. Lexi Bassler on the serve. Fires it into the net. First serving error of the second set for the Saints. So we'll flip sides. It's Brooke Spurgeon on the serve for the Sharks. Berglund, just a little too much on it. Set it up brilliantly for Taylor Stockman. One of the easier points you're going to see for the Sharks. Nonetheless, Stockman still had to read it well, and she did. This time Berglund places it to Sheedy. Boyd fires it over. Well played there by Marley Navarrete. Here's Stockman. Sheedy goes low. Here's Cassidy. Boom! With the finish. Once again, the Saints still hanging around. 5, not an insurmountable deficit, but Going to need to go on a little run here if you have any chance at stopping this Nova Southeastern team. Here's Fitzpatrick. Just over the net, played nicely by Price. The finish, that was Stockman, right into the waiting arms of Fitzpatrick. Here's Berglund, defended well by Navarrete. We're setting it up for Price. These teams going back and forth here. Patrick sends it over. Good opportunity for the Sharks, and they finish. Taylor Stockman had a couple chances that time. Saw the defense get out of position for the Saints, and Stockman once again perfectly placed on the kill. Hits off the net. That time it was Fitzpatrick. On the other end, it's Stockman, dug out by Jordan Berglund. And the Saints somehow able to keep this point alive. This time it's Price off the hands of Berglund, out of bounds. And it's another point for the Sharks. Their lead's now up to 7, and a very smart decision from Coach Lopez there. He's going to call a timeout, try and stop any of this momentum for the Sharks. Boy, have they been dominant here in the second set. So we'll stay with you for this timeout. If you look on your screen here, he should be entering shortly. Everyone's favorite, Lewis the Lion, giving the crowd some dance moves, firing up the people. Yeah, we're trying to wave to Lewis. He doesn't see us. He's a busy man. That's the most important man on campus here at Flagler. Hey, before we get back to the action, this game is sponsored by Birchall & Company Real Estate. In addition to Birchall & Company, how about Moe's Southwestern Grill? You know, there's a lot of options out there for your Southwestern cuisine. Why not check out Moe's? No one better than Moe's. Gotta go to Moe's. So we're out of the timeout here. It's 15-8. The Sharks are in the lead over Flagler. Flagler was able to take the first set by 2 points, but this second set has been all Nova Southeastern. They've made a lot of smart adjustments, specifically running it through Taylor Stockman and Olivia Aniel. Everyone's going to be focused on Elizabeth Price, but the Sharks have so many different players who can beat you. Here's Stockman on the serve. Molly Boyd with the finish. And coming out of the timeout, that's exactly what Coach Skylar Lopez wanted to see from his girls. Molly Boyd with a huge point. She's up to 3 kills on the game. Bloom serve. They're setting it up. Oh, well played. Bassler off the ceiling. That's a tricky play to make defensively. Spank is setting it up for Aniel. Deflects off Berglund, out of bounds. And another point for the Sharks. Here's Elizabeth Price, excuse me, as Sheedy feeds Berglund. Deflected off the Sharks defense. Like we said earlier, you're going to hear that a lot. Sheedy to Berglund, Sheedy to Boyd, Sheedy to Berglund. We've said it a lot today. And there's another example, a big point for the Saints. A lot different being down 8 versus 6. Wicker serve played by Price, and it's deflected by Stemkowski. Back-to-back points for the Saints. And they may be sparking a little run here, are the Saints. That's exactly what we said they needed. Any sort of momentum to get the Sharks out of rhythm. Once again, it's Wicker. Finished perfectly by Olivia Aniel. That was as smooth a point as you're going to see. And the Sharks pick up their 17th point of the second set. They lead by 6. Daniel on the serve. A little hard. Oh, Bassler saw it at the last second. You couldn't tell from our vantage point. It looked like it was probably going to stay in. Just a little bit indecisive there as Bassler did most likely read it right, just a second too late. Saints play it over. This time it's Spankus setting it up for Price, of course. And another point to the Sharks. So it's Daniel once again on the serve. And they let it go. It is out of bounds this time as Bloom and Basso communicate effectively. The Saints pick up their 12th point of the second set. Claire Sheedy on the serve. Hey, we have to give Claire Sheedy a shout out. She is the Academy Bus Athlete of the Week. So she's done a lot of good things in her start with the Saints. Like we mentioned, she doesn't have a single game with less than 30 assists on the season, including a 40-assist match earlier today against Trevecca. So, hey, we're happy to have Claire Sheedy here. We will take her because she has been phenomenal. Here's Berglund, well read by Stockman. Sheedy setting it up. This time it's Dixon off of Price into the crowd just below us. And once again, I feel like we've said Meredith Dixon's name a lot today. Off the feed from who else? Claire Sheedy. Sheedy on the serve. Played by Price. Rattles off the ceiling. And Spankus tried to read it just a little too late on that one. It was a bit out of reach, too. That's where these low ceilings can mess with you. It's a bit of a home court advantage for the Saints. Sheedy again on the serve. Spankus setting it up. Blocked. Berglund able to send it back to Sheedy. Bloom, nice defensive stop there. Here's Stemkowski out of bounds off of Price. Brilliant finish there by Colby Stemkowski. Didn't want to put too much on it, just brilliantly placed into the back right corner here on the near side. Once again, it's Sheedy just over the net. That was a close call. Spankus to Price. Here's Berglund. Off of Stockman. Another point goes to the Saints. A brilliant job by the Saints. Coach Lopez with a great timeout. And the Saints deficit is back to just 3 after that little run. So we'll take a timeout here. Once we're back, 19-16, the Sharks are in the lead. It's going to be an exciting finish to the second set here in Flagler Gymnasium. So we're back out of the timeout here, folks. A well-timed timeout there by Coach Casey Ettinger. She saw the Saints rattle off 5 in a row there. It's only a 3-point lead for her Sharks. And once again, it's Claire Sheedy on the serve. This one played by Navarrete. Excuse me, that's Ernest. Well played by Cassidy. Bloom just out of reach of Berglund. She knew it, just didn't get set in time. And out of the timeout, it's the Sharks who draw first blood. Their lead is back up to 4. Oh, well done, Claire Sheedy. Normally the feeder, this time she goes on the attack. And now they're trading points, the Saints and the Sharks. It's Jordan Berglund now on the serve. Berglund fires it over, played by Price. Spankus. Oh, what a finish there. Well defended, however, by the Saints. You just saw a hand get down below it. And not much you can do there. Emma DeFerm, we've said her name a few times, but definitely not one of the, say, leading scorers on this team. But my goodness, does she pack a punch. Here's Marley Navarrete. Another freshman for the Sharks. Bloom sends it over. Spurgeon plays it easily. Here's Stockman. Man, Taylor Stockman, so aware of the court. I mean, she always seems to find the spots where no Saints are even close to. I mean, there was nobody within 5 feet of her there. And in a split second, the ability to make a decision like that is very, very impressive. Berglund goes over. That is a layup there. This time it's Brittany Landrum, the grad student from St. Cloud, Florida. First time we've said her name today. And the Sharks extend their lead to 6. It's 23-17 here in the second set. Sheedy setting it up for Dixon. Dixon just out of bounds on the on the far side. The officials had to deliberate there for a sec. That was a close call. Very well placed by Dixon. Just off by a few inches. Dixon's shot is blocked. Stockman setting it up. This time it's Price. Price finishes it. And the second set goes to Nova Southeastern. So a back and forth match so far. It was the Saints in the first set, the Sharks in the second set in dominant fashion. We're going to take a break here real quick. Before we go, I want to thank some of our sponsors, Capital Financial Strategies. And how about Salt Life Food Shack? Eat, play hard, and be salty. Hey folks, don't go anywhere. We're going to be back in a second here in a couple of minutes. The third set coming up next. All right, fans, welcome back to Flagler Gymnasium. It's a party in here. We have Fireball playing in the loudspeakers. The third set's coming up next. We're all knotted up at 1 apiece. The Saints took the first set 25-23. That was a back and forth battle. But then the Sharks took command here in the second set, winning that one 25-17. The Saints did make it close late, but the Sharks do what they did what they do so well, and just dominated the end of the second set. So we're just about ready here. Same group from the Saints. No introductions needed. We're seeing a little bit more of Brittany Landrum, the middle blocker for the Sharks. Other than that, pretty much status quo as Olivia Annual checks out in favor of Brooke Spurgeon. So here's Marley Navarrete, the first to serve here in the third set. And this is a crucial one for both teams. You go up 2-1, makes it a whole lot easier to win. First one goes out of bounds, and the Saints take the first point for the third straight set as Navarrete just a little too strong on that serve. Here's Lexi Bassler. Well placed, Spurgeon digs it out. Stockman, did that go over? It did. Couldn't tell if she hit it into the net. But unfortunately, she just hit it into Jordan Berglund and Molly Boyd. Nice play there by Stockman. I have been very impressed with her. Already up to 11 kills on the game and 5 digs. So Stockman has been everywhere. And that time it's Olivia Annual picking up another point for the Sharks. Offensively, it's been Stockman, Price, Annual, just as we expected. Stockman 11 kills, Price 7. Annual now at 6. That one deflects off the net, goes over. Here's Berglund, well placed, but dug out by Spankus. Goes out of bounds as Price tried to get a little nifty on that one. And we're all knotted up at 2 apiece here early in the third set. So here's Fitzpatrick. Played easily by Price. Spankus setting it up for Stockman. Rattles off the ceiling. Sheedy was ready for it. Price fires it right to Bassler. Sheedy trying to get herself a point there, and it's blocked. Jordan Berglund. She knew they were looking at Taylor Stockman. Gets in the way, and that's a big point for the Saints. So they take their their second lead here in the third set. Crowd goes silent as Fitzpatrick serves it. Setting it up for Price, just off the knuckles of Cassidy Bloom. She was in position. She knew it immediately, just hit it off the hands. So here's Taylor Stockman. Berglund hits it up, it goes off the ceiling. Bloom reads it brilliantly. Annual's shot is blocked by Boyd. Price fires it over. Bloom digs it out. Sheedy, and waiting for it was Spankus. Sheedy serves it up for Fitzpatrick. Navarrete hustling. Spurgeon able to free ball it over. A beautiful play defensively from the Sharks. Price fires it, blocked by Molly Boyd. Lewis the Lion firing up the crowd. That was a fun point to watch. Back and forth at several points. It looked like either team was going to score on that one. But this point goes to the Saints. So here is Berglund. Leads the team in kills. She's third in Peach Belt Conference play coming in to the match. As Price mishits that one, goes out of bounds here on the near side. And the Saints increase their lead to 2. Jordan Berglund fires it over, played nicely by Navarrete. This one's hit out of bounds. Aniel almost placed it very well. She has some great touch when she's close to the net. Not as much of the powerhouse as, say, a Taylor Stockman or an Emma DeFerm, but boy, oh boy, does Aniel place it so perfectly. Here's Berglund. They all say it might have been going out. That was going to be a close call. I agree with Navarrete playing it. And how about that? Another block for the Saints front line. Molly Boyd. And their lead's up to 4. Well, yeah, I was going to say, Casey Ettinger going to call a timeout here to stop the bleeding early in the third set. Plenty of time. And we'll take a timeout as well. So it's 7-3 Saints here in the third set. We'll be back in a second, folks. Don't go anywhere. So we're out of the timeout here in St. Augustine. Once again, all tied in the match. This set, the Saints lead 7-3. If you missed the game earlier against Trevecca, Molly Boyd had quite a day. 13 kills, led the Saints. Also had 5 blocks to go along with it. Sheedy picked up 40 assists. She's first in the Peach Belt Conference in that category. As it's Jordan Berglund on the serve. Oh, just into the net. And that's a quick point out of the timeout here for the Sharks. It's now 7-4. Price on the serve, goes right to Berglund. Sheedy setting it up. It's Cassidy Bloom deflected. Easy play there for Spurgeon. And Aniel, they're going to say the point goes to the Saints. Probably hit the net. Couldn't really tell from our vantage point. But nonetheless, the Saints pick up their 8th point of the third set as Ella Wicker checks back in. Wicker fires it right into the net, so back-to-back serving errors from Berglund and Wicker. You hate to see it if you're a Saints fan. Just helping the Sharks stay alive in this third set. Berglund, Sheedy. That time it was Fitzpatrick. Spank is setting it up for Stockman. They're going to say it went out of bounds. Just barely. So much power on that one from Stockman. It was hard to tell. I had to turn my head fast. And both teams trading points here. It's back to a 4-point lead for the Saints. Sheedy on the serve. Dug out there. It's Landrum. Easy play for Sheedy as they send it over to Cassidy Bloom. This time it's the firm. Firm again blocked. And they're going to give the point to the Saints. A violation against Nova Southeastern. And there have been a lot of battles for these points. These two teams going back and forth. Again, it's Sheedy. Spank is setting it up there for the firm. Oh, nice play by Bassler. Oh, Cassidy Bloom just barely mishits it. And it's a point for the Sharks. The Saints lead, now 10-6. Oh, brilliant finish there. Bloom corrects her mistake. There was no doubt about that one, assisted by who else? Fans, I don't even need to say it. It was Sheedy, of course. Cassidy Bloom on the serve. Sends it over, it's to Firm. Price dug out there by Sheedy. Bassler sets it up for Berglund, who is blocked. Bassler this time setting it up for Dixon. Softly places it over. And another point for the Saints. Great reaction time by Dixon. She was about to go up and try and fire one down, realized she didn't have the angle, and just ever so softly places it in between the Sharks defenders. Bloom into the net. Another error from the Saints. Boy, that has been the one negative for the Saints. Otherwise, they have been fantastic. Once again, it's Marley Navarrete. Fires it over. Berglund gets out of the way, lets it go out of bounds. And once again, we're still trading points here. 12-7. The Saints lead back up to 5. Lexi Bassler switching sides once again. Keeping everybody on their toes. Fires that one. Spurgeon hits it directly onto the court. And it's another point for the Saints. And once again, the Sharks will call timeout as the Saints lead swells up to 7. We'll take a timeout as well. Before we do, I want to shout out one of our presenting sponsors, Applebee's. Check out Applebee's for some half-price appetizers nightly, 10 p.m. to close. Another personal favorite. I know I keep saying it, but I do love me some Applebee's. We'll be back in a second, folks. Don't go anywhere. The rest of the third set coming up after this. Okay, welcome back, folks. If you're just joining us, you missed a lot, but we're in the third set. The Saints are up 14-7. The match overall tied at 1 apiece. It's been back and forth from the start. Both teams trading blows, so to speak. It'll be Lexi Bassler on the serve. This one misplayed there by Navarrete. It rattles around the ceiling to the Sharks' advantage. And Price is able to hit it over, just out of bounds. Molly Boyd makes a nice play. Just hit it a little bit too early, got under it a bit. And that is big for the Sharks. Boy, it looked like that ball was going to get stuck in the ceiling. But once again, it worked out better for the Sharks. That was going directly backward when it was originally hit. Here's Sheedy setting up Berglund. Dug out by Navarrete. Price just sends it over. Sheedy, oh, sneaky play there, and Claire Sheedy picks up the point. No one in the gym was ready for that one from Sheedy. And you're so used to her being the feeder. You know, when you have 30 assists minimum per game, why would anybody be expecting you to be the one to hit it over? That's the element that Claire Sheedy adds to this team. Here's Fitzpatrick, dug out by Price. Sending it back, Stockman had to adjust to the ball, able to get it over. Navarrete setting up Price. Blocked there by Molly Boyd. Molly Boyd having a day. Whether it was the first game today for the Saints or this one, Molly Boyd has shown up. Fitzpatrick played by Price. Spankus over to Stockman. That's going to be a close call. They're going to give the point to the Saints. Boy, the line judge must have 2015 vision. That was a very tough one to judge. And he immediately threw up the flag, said point to the Saints. Fitzpatrick, it deflects off the net, but does get over. Annual's shot dug out by Fitzpatrick. Here's Bloom sending it over. Played easily by the Sharks. Annual deflected off Boyd and Berglund out of bounds. And a much-needed point there for the Sharks. They were about to be down 10 if they didn't score on that one. The Saints still lead 17-9 here in the third. Berglund digs it out, hits it off Molly Boyd's back. Boyd trying to get out of the way. Berglund hits a line drive into her. They're laughing about it. They'll move on to the next play. Short memory. Stockman dug out by Berglund. Here's Sheedy. Boyd able to get it over. And they're going to give the point to the Saints. Not sure, admittedly, what that violation was. Looks like a clean play, but as always, I will defer to the officials. Jordan Berglund on the serve, just gets it over. Price plays it easily. And Price going for the kill. Cassidy Bloom able to get it over to Molly Boyd. Well done by the Saints. Price tries it again, deflected out of bounds off of Claire Sheedy. Hey, we've talked a lot about Jordan Berglund, the player. Let's talk about Jordan Berglund, the student, real quick. How about academic all-conference the last 2 seasons? Very tough to do. Shows not only is she a superstar on the court, in the classroom as well. We all appreciate that. Sheedy setting it up for Bloom. It's blocked right past Lexi Bassler. That one looks like Olivia Annual. Couldn't tell as the officials are blocking our view. Nonetheless, that was a powerful block from the Sharks front line. Price and Berglund lets it go. Hey, we mentioned she's academic all-conference the last 2 seasons. It doesn't surprise you with how smart she is on the court. Well read, time and time again, just gets out of the way at the last second. Ella Wicker's back in. Sends that one to DeFerrum. DeFerrum on the finish. They're going to say point Saints, just out of bounds. Couldn't tell if it was deflected. The officials will say no. The Saints with their biggest lead of the day. They're up by 8 here in the third set. Wicker serve. Played by DeFerm. This time it's Spankus setting it up for Price. Played easily by Fitzpatrick, but it deflects off the ceiling into a sea of nobody. Like we said, we've seen the ceiling work to both teams' advantage so far today, so while I'm sure Flagler's a little more used to it, hasn't really been a benefit to either team so far. Sheedy setting up Fitzpatrick. Beautiful finish from Amelia Fitzpatrick. Stockman got a hand on it, just mishits it ever so slightly. And now the Saints up 21-13, 4 points away. Claire Sheedy fires it. They're going to let it go, and it's an ace for Claire Sheedy. The Saints have hit them long a few times, and the Sharks have played it. That time, Sheedy took a little bit off of it. It was almost like the Sharks predetermined that they weren't going to play it. Here's DeFerm blocked. Out of bounds. Point to the Saints. Their lead in the third set is all the way up to 10. My goodness. Something about this right side of the court. Both teams seem to love it. Spank is setting it up for Landrum. Landrum with the point. The Sharks trying to make this third set last just a little longer as Lexi Bassler is going to clean off something on the court. And it looks like the conditions are playable again, folks, so we are good to go. Sheedy sets this one up for Stemkowski with the touch, but played beautifully by Price. Here comes Bassler to Bloom, out of bounds. That time Spankus reads it perfectly, just lets it go. It's now 23-15 Saints. Hey, don't count out the Nova Southeastern Sharks. They can get hot. Bloom, Sheedy, it's Berglund, deflected off Spankus. Spurgeon able to get it up to Price, who free balls it over. My goodness. And this time Spurgeon able to dig it out, deflects behind her on the far side. And it's set point. The Saints up to 24 here in the third. Cassidy Bloom on the serve. Fires it, dug out by Spurgeon. This time it's the firm, hits it into the net, and the Saints take the third set from the Sharks. Like we've said, coming into play, the Sharks only lost one set in 5 matches all year. The Saints have already taken 2 out of 3, and they're 1 set away from a victory. So a lot to be excited about as we move into the 4th set here. We're going to take a break. We'll be back in a couple of minutes, folks, but don't go anywhere. The 4th set coming up next. All right, fans, the party's still going here in St. Augustine, Florida at Clark Family Court. If you're just joining us, I don't know why you'd be joining us so late, but things happen. Life gets in the way. The Saints took 2 of the first 3 sets. They won the first and the third over Nova Southeastern. Leading scorers for the Saints so far, Jordan Berglund, Cassidy Bloom, and Meredith Dixon, all with 6 kills apiece. And then we've also seen Molly Boyd and Colby Stemkowski with 4 as well. Claire Sheedy, 9 digs. Cassidy Bloom has 8 to go along with that. On the other side, it's been Taylor Stockman with 11 kills. And, of course, Elizabeth Price sitting at 9. Defensively, Gabrielle Spankus has been phenomenal. 9 digs. But what really impresses me, we mentioned Taylor Stockman, 11 kills, also has 9 digs to go along with it. So she is doing it all for the Sharks today. She has been very, very impressive. Just getting set. Both teams making sure their lineups are set. On the right side for the Sharks, it's Spankus and Landrum up front, followed by Mahasevich, Spurgeon, Price, And then Stockman on the back line. For the Saints, no real changes. Dixon and Boyd up front with Berglund. You see Claire Sheedy in the middle there with Cassidy Bloom behind her. And getting ready to serve on the far side is Lexi Bassler. Bassler's serve deflects over the net, played nicely by Mahasevich. Berglund sends it up. Bassler able to make a play on it. My goodness, the hustle and the skill to make that play as Boyd finishes it just inside the line on the far side. That is a well-deserved point for the Saints. And it all starts with the play by Lexi Bassler. The ball hits off the ceiling, and she was ready for it. Spankus sending it over. Mahasevich, it hits off the face of Molly Boyd. Yeah, she even had to open her eyes a little bit. You could tell that one caught her pretty good. And so we're all knotted up at 1 apiece. Berglund digs it out. Here's Sheedy. Sets it up for Dixon. Just out of bounds. You thought that might be able to sneak in to that far side corner. But the Sharks will take a 2-1 lead here in the 4th set. Sheedy setting up Berglund. Blocked! That time, Brittany Landrum makes the play. And a good start to this 4th set for the Sharks. It seems to be whoever's on the right side of your screen has the advantage. I don't know what's going on that right side, but both teams seem to like it. Spankus, took a little off that. That made Berglund adjust a lot. Landrum dug out by Sheedy. Spurgeon sets it up for Stockman. Stockman tried to hit it on the way back and deflects it out of bounds. Much needed point for the Saints as they now trail 3-2 here in the 4th set. Fitzpatrick on the serve. Spankus sets it up for Stockman. Dug out by Bassler. Here is Fitzpatrick. Right into the waiting arms of Spurgeon. Bloom, great reflexes by Cassidy Bloom playing the deflected ball. Stockman able to finish on the far side. And another point for Taylor Stockman. Boy, is she fun to watch. Mahasevich on the serve. They let it go. They're going to say it was out of bounds. That is as close as they come from our viewpoint. You can see Taylor Stockman a little bit surprised at that one. She thought they got it in the line. I'll admit, this announcer did too. Here's Berglund. Dug out. Spurgeon just hits it right into the net. You hate to see that from Brooke Spurgeon if you're a Sharks fan. She's been so sure-handed all day long. But we're all knotted up at 4 here in the 4th set. Blocked there, deflected back off Spankus. And the Saints take the lead here early in the 4th set. Once again, it's Berglund. Fires it, Spurgeon plays it nicely. Spankus setting up Price into the waiting arms of Amelia Fitzpatrick. Here's Bloom. What a play by Cassidy Bloom on the far side. Cassidy Bloom has some impressive reflexes, folks. I mean, in the air, adjusts to just softly hit it over 2 Shark defenders. Once again, it's Jordan Berglund. Fires it over. Price able to play it to Spankus. Stockman. Taylor Stockman. That is a very tough point to get. But is able to find the space in the Flagler zone despite being about 7 or 8 feet behind the net. Brooke Spurgeon. Played by Berglund. Here's Sheedy. Bloom's just going to send it over there. Here's Spankus. Price into the corner on the near side, and we are all knotted up once again here in the fourth set. Yeah, the first set was back and forth. Flagler was able to win it. The second set was all Nova Southeastern. The third set, the opposite, all Flagler. This one seems to be a lot more competitive as Taylor Stockman with the kill right in the face of Claire Sheedy. Spurgeon on the serve. Played nicely by Berglund. Here's Molly Boyd at the feet of Brooks Spurgeon. Molly Boyd, have a day.
Point 6.
And the back and forth fourth set continues. It's 7-7 with Ella Wicker on the serve for the Saints. Here's Wicker. Oh, dug out nicely. Oh, brilliantly played by Claire Sheedy.
Point 6.
Sheedy has been so quick on that front line there. You couldn't tell if it was going over the net. She knew it from the start. Wicker once again. Dug out by Price. And that's an awkward ball there as Stemkowski's able to just send it over. Sheedy to Fitzpatrick. Dug out. That time it was Spurgeon. Here's Stockman, another kill from Taylor Stockman. Boy, she is everywhere offensively for the Sharks. And we've said it time and time again, so many players on Nova Southeastern that can kill you. And today it's been Taylor Stockman. Elizabeth Price, no slouch either. She's been phenomenal. And just right there, Olivia Aniel. The other one I was going to say, Aniel has been phenomenal on the finishing. So it is Taylor Stockman on the serve. 9-8 Sharks here in the fourth set. Stemkowski finishes at the feet of Marley Navarrete. Not much Navarrete can do there.
6.
And well, we said Nova Southeastern has a lot of players who can kill you. How about Flagler? I mean, hasn't been a one-man show. It has been a real team effort. The stats look very even, especially offensively, as Aniel misplays that one right into the net. And the lead flips back to the Saints, now 10-9. Sheedy on the serve directly into the net. And that's been one of the differences between these two sides so far. You've seen not a lot, but you've seen serving errors from the Saints. We've maybe seen one from Nova Southeastern. They are so sure-handed on the serves. And that's something Flagler will want to shore up. Like I said, nothing too crazy. They haven't had a lot, as they're going to say violation against the Saints. Point goes to the Sharks. But those are just free points that you give the other team. Something I'm sure Coach Lopez is going to be focusing with his team on. Bloom plays it to Sheedy. Sheedy setting up Stemkowski. It deflects. Price and Spurgeon both able to get hands on it. That was very impressive. Stemkowski again, dug out by Price. Stockman, boy, we've talked about the power from Taylor Stockman. That one was a little too powerful as it goes out of bounds. And once again, the back and forth fourth set continues. It's tied up at 11. Cassidy Bloom, dug out by Price. That one's out of bounds. They're going to give it to the Sharks. They're going to say it deflected off. Likely Meredith Dixon there. The Sharks retake the lead. Here's Olivia Aniel, all 6'1" of her, the sophomore, who has been absolutely brilliant today for the Sharks. And another wet spot on the right side of the court. This time Elizabeth Price doing her best to clean that off. Need to make sure the playing conditions are safe, and they are. Here is Daniel. Dug out by Berglund. Sheedy setting it up for Dixon. It's blocked. And they're going to say it went out of bounds. A bit of a delayed call there. But Meredith Dixon was waiting for it. She had the best view of anybody in the gym. And we're all tied up again. 12-12 here in the fourth. Bassler sends it over. They're going to let it go. Wise decision there by Kate Mahasevich. Berglund digs it out. Sheedy to Molly Boyd. Dug out brilliantly by Brooke Spurgeon. And that one's deflected off the hands of Molly Boyd. She knew it. All smiles afterward. As she knows there's nothing she can do about that one. So Gabrielle Spankus sends it over, played by Berglund. Boyd this time able to send it off the deflection in between the entire Sharks defense. Molly Boyd, known for the power, known for the blocking, took a little bit off that one, and the deflection helps her a lot. Amelia Fitzpatrick, the sophomore, checks back in. Takes a deep breath. Fires it on over. Mahasevich to Spankus. Back to Mahasevich. Blocked by Molly Boyd. And Amelia Fitzpatrick gives her some finger guns. She is on cloud nine after that point. Molly Boyd, she just continues to dominate. Fitzpatrick sends it over. Oh! A rare error there from the Sharks as it just hits off of Mahasevich out of bounds. It will be Fitzpatrick once again, this time with the lead, 15-14 Saints. Fitzpatrick fires it. Price, Spankus, Mahasevich. Well played by Fitzpatrick. Berglund able to send it over. And the Saints settle in as Molly Boyd is blocked. And it just rattles around between Boyd and the net. And neither team able to create any sort of separation so far. We saw the Sharks have a 2-point lead. The Saints had a 2-point lead briefly. But once again, tied up, 15 apiece. Communication there, but Berglund and Bloom able to get it over. And that one deflects off of Jordan Berglund out of bounds. And the Sharks are back in front here in the fourth. Mahasevich sends it right into the net. And that's a stroke of luck the Saints are happy to receive. Like we said, we saw that a little bit from the Saints, not a lot. But that has to be the first, maybe the second time we've seen it for the Sharks. They have been dialed in on the serves. Another wet spot on the court. It's probably all that rain that we're getting. Maybe there's a ceiling leak. Either way, here's Berglund, sends it into the net. Tough blow for the Saints there as both teams trade errors. And the Sharks are back on top here in the fourth. So it'll be Brooke Spurgeon. She may not show up in the stat sheet for the kills or anything that flashy, but Brooke Spurgeon has been invaluable for the Sharks today as Price falling backwards to make the play. Boy, the hustle from Price as Stockman shoots it out of bounds. Read well by Jordan Berglund. And we're all knotted up again. 17-17 here late in the fourth. Both teams do have 2 timeouts. I'm sure we'll see at least one from either side. Here's Wicker. Sends it over. Little delayed by Annual there, and they're going to give the point to the Saints. Just out of bounds. Coach Lopez knew it as it was right in front of his feet over on the far side. And this time it's the Saints in front, 18-17. Once again, 18-17, the Saints lead. 18-17, that was a good year. Well, if you were James Monroe. Here's Wicker. Spankus sends it over to Price with the punishing finish. My goodness, Elizabeth Price, that was one of the more powerful kills you will see. And that could spark a little bit of momentum for the Sharks to separate. It's all tied at 18. Like we've said, neither team has been able to have more than a 2-point lead here in the fourth. Stemkowski's blocked, and it falls at the feet of Lexi Bassler for a Sharks point. Crowd starting to get really into it. Here's Stockman. Oh, and they let it go. Bloom and Berglund have read them so well on the serves all day. And just that one a little too soft, and they let it go. So Coach Lopez calls a timeout. I think that is a wise decision. The score 20-18. The Sharks in front late in the fourth. We're going to be back in a second, folks, but do not go anywhere. We have an exciting finish in store for you after this. All right, folks, you just heard the gymnasium being serenaded with the Cotton Eye Joe. Boy, do I love that song. 20-18, the Sharks lead here in the fourth set. Flagler up 2-1 overall. Stockman's serve, goes to Berglund. Sheedy setting it up for Fitzpatrick. And that one's up in the air, rattles around. Well played there by Spankus. My goodness, the awareness. As Stemkowski's blocked, but it's out of bounds. And all of a sudden, the Saints are up to 19 points. They are down by 1. Feels like every point in this match has been a battle. Both teams so competitive, very even. They both have players who can do it offensively, defensively, and some of these points have just been a joy to watch. So here's Claire Sheedy. Her serve, Price hits it off of one of the lights up top. Sheedy setting it up for Berglund. Berglund hits it right to Navarrete. And that one's, it looked out of bounds. They're going to say it was deflected. Yep, couldn't tell as the ref is just blocking our view there. But nonetheless, that's a big point for the Sharks to increase their lead back to 2. Sheedy setting it up for Bloom. Oh, misread, or I should say a miscommunication, but Bloom able to get it over as Dixon just a little too strong there as that one goes out of bounds. It's been the largest lead of the fourth set. The Sharks up by 3. And that one out of bounds, read brilliantly by Cassidy Bloom. And that's a big one for the Saints, trying to claw their way back here in the fourth set and send Nova Southeastern back to Fort Lauderdale unhappy. Bloom dug out by Spurgeon. They're setting it up for Annual. It's blocked. And a huge point for the Saints. They pick up their second in a row. And all of a sudden, it's back to a 1-point game here in the fourth set. And a wise timeout there from Casey Ehlinger. Boy, is this fun. 22-21, the Sharks lead late here in the fourth set. We're going to thank some of our wonderful sponsors. First, the Stellar Group, taking solutions further. How about the McLeod firm? Hey, if you need attorneys, where else would you go other than the McLeod firm? Finally, if you're hungry after the game, personal favorite of mine once again, 123 Burger House. Grillin' and chillin' only at 123 Burger House. So a quick timeout for the Sharks. See, the coaching staff clearly has a plan in mind for them for these last few points of the fourth. Oh, Lewis the Lion finally shot me a wave back. He's playing hard to get all night. So it'll be the Saints on the serve. Cassidy Bloom over on the far side. 22-21, Nova Southeastern in the lead. Bloom shot played by Spurgeon. Here's Spankus over to Mahasevic. Into the ground, played by Meredith Dixon. And she is fired up for the Saints. 3 straight points for the Saints, make it 22-22. If the Saints win this set, the match is over. If the Sharks win, we'll go to a 5th set. Bloom serve. Spankus setting it up for Mahasevic. Just into the corner. Well placed there by the senior from Brunswick, Ohio. Stops the bleeding just ever so slightly, and the Sharks back in front here in the fourth, 23-22. Bassler, Sheedy, Berglund. Oh, brilliant play there by Price. Landrum dug out by Bassler, and Mahasevic reads it perfectly. And all of a sudden, it's set point here in the fourth. The Sharks trying to force that 5th set. Coach Lopez is going to make them wait a little longer as he calls timeout. So this time we'll take a timeout as well. Don't go anywhere, folks. We're going to be wrapping up the 4th set when we come back. All right, fans, we are back. 24-22. The Sharks have the lead here in the fourth. It's Olivia Annual on the serve, trying to finish up the 4th set. Let's see if we get some free volleyball. Berglund to Sheedy. Setting up for Dixon. It's blocked out of bounds. And the Saints extend this set. It's now 24-23. Boy, is this exciting. Bassler on the serve, fires it just over the net. Spankus blocked. Boyd, oh, into the court there. Boyd had a nice block on it. Just unable to get it over the net. And we will switch sides once again. So the Sharks, I mean, that was a back and forth set. The Sharks pulled away late, playing some very, very strong offense. And we'll see y'all for a 5th set. So we'll take another break for a couple of minutes here, but don't go anywhere. We have free volleyball coming up after this. It's going to be an exciting finish here in St. Augustine. All right, we're out of the break here in St. Augustine. The match is set at 2 apiece. It's been back and forth. Flagler won the first and the third. Nova Southeastern has won the second and the fourth. Both sides dominated one set and then each won a back and forth set, those being the first and the fourth. Very interested to see what's in store for us here in the fifth. I've said it several times, but I have to shout out the play of Taylor Stockman and Elizabeth Price for the Sharks. Stockman up to 16 kills and 10 digs on the match. Price, to her credit, 13 kills and 10 digs. Those two have been phenomenal. It's really been the entire team for both sides, though. We've seen Gabrielle Spankus 9 digs herself. Olivia Aniel making some fine plays down there. And it'll be the Saints to serve first. Lexi Bassler on the far side. The officials give their signal. And the fifth set is underway. Spankus sends it over to Mahasevic. Deflected off of Bassler. And the Sharks strike first here in the fifth set. Spankus sends it over. That's Bloom. Sheedy sets it up for Dixon. Dug out brilliantly by Spurgeon. Mahasevic played well by Bloom, Berglund tries to get a little crafty with that one. It looks like that was Taylor Stockman on the block. Hard to tell. There were a couple Sharks over there. Already 2-0. Nova Southeastern has the lead in the fifth set. Sheedy setting it up for Berglund again. It deflects. Spankus able to get a hand on it. Mahasevic sends it over to Sheedy. This one blocked. That time it's Brittany Landrum doing the dirty work up front for the Sharks. And all of a sudden, it's been back and forth all day. The Sharks with a 3-0 lead already here in the fifth. Bloom, Sheedy, Berglund deflects off Mahasevic, and there we are. The Saints with their first point here in the fifth set. So it'll be Amelia Fitzpatrick on the serve. It feels like every time she's been serving, good things have happened for the Saints. Spankus sends it over to Mahasevic. It's blocked. Oh, Boyd had a play on it. She keeps it alive. It was just barely out of the reach of Berglund. And it'll go the other way. The Sharks will now serve up 4-1. Mahasevic fires it out of bounds. Well played there by Cassidy Bloom.
6.
As Marley Navarrete checks in for the Sharks. On the opposite side, Lexi Bassler is back. It's Jordan Berglund on the serve. Fires it over, well read. This time it's Brooke Spurgeon. Boy, she does not play like a freshman, does she? So calm, cool, collected back there. And she knew it immediately. 5-2 Sharks here in the fifth. Winner of this set wins the match. Berglund sets it up for Sheedy. She sets up Boyd. Deflected off Spankus. Spurgeon, what a play by Brooke Spurgeon. And the Sharks somehow get that point. Oh my goodness. And if you're a Saints fan, you simply have to respect the hustle there by Brooke Spurgeon. My goodness, was that impressive. That is a tough blow for the Flagler faithful. Instead of 5-3, it's 6-2 here in the fifth. Coach Lopez calls timeout. We're going to stay with you. A lot going on here in Flagler Gymnasium. As the cheerleaders make their way out to the sweet, soothing sound of Thunderstruck. Love that song. Well, this timeout's brought to you by one of our wonderful sponsors, 5 Star Pizza. Hey, I might be stopping into 5 Star Pizza after this. Bigger, better, faster, only at 5 Star Pizza. And how about vested medals? Boy, you always forget they're putting medals in vests now. I'll believe it when I see it. Just about out of the timeout break here, the Sharks make their way onto the court. They have dominated this 5th set. The end of the 4th set was all Sharks. They've started off very nicely here. The Saints, plenty of time, just have to go on a little run here, stop the bleeding. I like the timeout call from Coach Lopez, but it feels like you need to get this point if you're one of the Saints. Brooke Spurgeon on the serve. Played by Berglund. Here's Sheedy to Molly Boyd. Oh, Brooke Spurgeon ready for it as Price just sends it over. Boyd again, it's deflected right into the waiting arms of Navarrete. Stockman played nicely by Berglund. Cassidy Bloom sends it over. It's deflected, played easily by the Sharks. Here's Price, dug out by Bloom. And Sheedy able to free ball that one over. Spankus sets up Price at the feet of Berglund, just barely out of reach. Boy, a great back and forth effort from both sides, but it's Elizabeth Price who finishes it for the Sharks. So here's Brooke Spurgeon. Played by Berglund. Sheedy setting it up. Fitzpatrick's just going to have to fire it over the net. Spankus, and that one's blocked. A huge point for the Saints. As they cut the bleeding ever so slightly. We'll see Colby Stem as well as Ella Wicker check back in. It'll be Wicker on the serve. Let's see if she can provide some sort of spark for the Saints. Wicker shot just barely out of bounds. Read well by Price once again. I always forget this part. They switch sides halfway through the set. So it's 8-3, Sharks over the Saints. Just 7 points away from a win and staying undefeated. This has been the biggest test for Nova Southeastern so far. They are a phenomenal group. Like we said at the beginning, only lost 1 set coming into play here. The Saints have given them all they can handle here at home. The Saints, to their credit, they've lost a close one to Embry-Riddle and then played the 18th-ranked Central Oklahoma, who are a bit of a powerhouse. Other than that, the Saints have taken care of business early on this season. Here's Stockman. Bloom plays it to Sheedy. Now to Fitzpatrick. It looks like it deflected off of Stockman. The officials say it did. And the Saints pick up a much-needed point there. It's now 8-4. The Sharks lead. Here's Price. Just barely inbound. No, they're going to say it was out of bounds. Price swore it was inbounds. You saw the reactions of Price and then Coach Lopez. Coach Lopez was clapping. Price was cheering. Ultimately, they're going to give the point to the Saints. Sheedy fires it over. That one's deflected off of Cassidy Bloom and out of bounds. That's as clear cut as they come. That'll be a point for the Sharks. The magic number is 6 for the Sharks. For the Saints, it's 10. Anything can happen in Flagler Gymnasium. Sheedy setting it up for Bloom. Deflected. And a much-needed point there. It's now 6-9, the Saints trail. Here's Cassidy Bloom, fires it over, digging it out is Price. Mahasevic deflected off of a couple Saints there. It looks like it was Dixon and Sheedy, and it goes out of bounds just in front of the Saints bench. And the Sharks first to double digits here in the 5th set. They're still up by 4. They've had a commanding lead since the onset of this set. Berglund plays it to Sheedy. They set it up for Kowski. Price has to just send it over. Bassler gets it. Here's Bloom. Dixon. Price and Stockman both go for it. This time Mahasevic, and it rattles around. Bassler, able to get a hand on it. Not enough as Dixon hits it out of bounds. Good effort from both sides there, especially Lexi Bassler for the Saints. Speaking of the Saints, they will call timeout. So that's their final timeout call. Here as we are just about wrapping up this match. 5th set, 11-6, the Sharks lead. We're going to take a break here, but we'll be back ever so shortly. End of this match coming up next. All right, so we're out of the timeout here. Once again, 11-6. The Sharks lead the Saints here in the 5th. They're 4 points away from remaining undefeated. Saints trying to mount what would be an incredible comeback. The first point there. It's a kill from Meredith Dixon. A great start out of the timeout for the Saints. So it's Bassler. Spankus to Mahasevic right at the feet of Sheedy. And that's the 12th point for the Sharks. Excuse me, it looks like... Oh, never mind. Must have been a violation. They gave that one to the Saints. Spankus over to Mahasevic at the feet of Bassler. She's able to get a hand on it. Not quick enough, though. 12-8, the Sharks now lead. Sheedy sends it over to Dixon, deflects it around. Stockman plays it easily. Landrum able to get it over, played well by Sheedy. Here's Dixon just going to underhand that one over the net. Mahasevic just out of bounds. We'll see no deflections. No deflections indeed.
Point 6.
So the deficit is 3 for the Saints. 12-9 here late in the 5th. They're just hanging around. Here's Amelia Fitzpatrick on the serve. Price plays it to Spankus. Oh, tricky play there by Gabrielle. The Saints able to just barely read it perfectly. This time it's Stockman dug out by Fitzpatrick. Bassler sends it to Berglund. This time it's Stockman. Played nicely. How about Claire Sheedy? She's done that a couple times today. Another point that's just fun to watch either way, but Claire Sheedy with a nifty finish there. And the Saints deficit is only 2 now. It's 12-10. Fitzpatrick serve, played by Price. Price on the finish, rattles around a few Saints defenders and goes out of bounds. You could tell the mantra there was get it to Elizabeth Price. And she finishes the job for the Sharks. 13-10, here's Mahasevic. Dug out by Berglund. She mishits it. So rare to see that from Berglund. She knew it. And just like that, we are 1 point away from a Sharks victory. Played by Bassler. Here's Sheedy. Molly Boyd able to extend this match a little bit further.
6.
I've been impressed with the entire Saints team today, whether it's Sheedy, Boyd, Berglund, Bloom, Fitzpatrick, Stemkowski, Bassler. They have been phenomenal. Berglund, the crowd goes silent. Spankus sets it up for Stockman. It's blocked. Played by Navarrete. Play is still alive. Price softly hits it over. And that's how this match will end. Only fitting it was Elizabeth Price to put the nail in the coffin for the Saints. A tough loss there for the Saints, but a lot to be encouraged by moving forward. They just took on a very tough opponent, took them to 5 sets. And it'll only get better from here. So the Saints will fall to 3-3 on the season. Nova Southeastern remains undefeated on the year, now 6-0 as they play on. Well, we want to thank you for joining us. We had a lot of fun today. I apologize about the late start for those who joined us, but we'll be back tomorrow as the Saints will take on Belmont Abbey. We'll be here at 5 o'clock p.m. Don't worry, folks, I'll be here too, and we'll see you then. So until next time, everybody have a good evening, good night, wherever you are. I'm Kyle McCarthy. For all of us here at Flagler, we say so long.